Let's go. Let's kick it off with the Chicago Bears. My man Dom Rosano, super happy to have you on. Take us away, man.
Awesome, man. Justin Fields being traded up for in the first round up to 11. That's one of the main three positions you needed. You needed a quarterback, you needed offensive tackle, and you needed a corner on the other side of the ball. But the first two picks, they addressed two of those three. Justin Fields, Tevin Jenkins, who a lot of people mock Jenkins to number 20. Yeah, and then you see him slide to the second round, you scoop him then. But, unfortunately,
you guys got two first-round picks.
Oh, yeah. And they cut Charles Leno earlier today, so now they're thinking Tevin Jenkins starts at left tackle rather than right tackle, but that means you open up another hole. But with the next pick, then you drafted Larry Borum from Mizzou, who showed he can play pretty decently. If you look at the game against Alabama, which it seems like that's all scouts look at nowadays, is you play Alabama, how'd you play? And he took 47 passing snaps, 0 pressure, 0 quarterback hits, no sacks allowed. I mean, he's showing he can hold against the big boys, and ultimately, those three guys really stood out to me. Then you added a gadget type of guy in Khalil Herbert. Daz Newsome, who's going to play the slot, can also be a punt returner. And then Herbert can be the kick returner. In the 6th round, you took Thomas Graham Jr., who could possibly be a nice depth piece in the secondary. There's the cornerback position. And then Tonga, the defensive tackle from BYU, who should be a nice depth piece as well. I am a huge fan of this draft. I think Ryan Pace saved his job, not only just by taking Justin Fields, buying him another couple seasons, but I think the Bears knocked it out of the park, and they're looking to contend for the next couple seasons, possibly the next decade or so, if Fields can really take that leap and be that generational talent. So yeah, I'm excited.
I'm giving y'all an A, man.
Please, no one tell anyone in Wisconsin I did this. I had y'all on my last show as one of the winners in this draft. I even go as far as to say A+. I don't know that there were many teams that had a better draft than you, other than Payton's Browns, because you move up to get arguably second best quarterback right there at 11?
11, yeah.
Facts.
And then immediately you get a tackle with a first round grade, as you said, in Tevin Jenkins. Like, just those two picks alone put the Bears. This is probably Ryan Pace's best draft by a mile. So like,
by far.
You're correct. Like, he probably saved his job for another 2 seasons.
He was squinting his eyes really hard. He was like, he just want to make sure he sees the right picks this time.
Ryan and Matt Nagy were on their way out the door, bro.
I know. Let's say this, right?
They saved their jobs, honestly, if I'm being honest.
I'll go as far as to say this, right? The only mistake that they're about to make, because I heard it, I think it's like Sunday that they made this statement that they want to go the route of Kansas City and having Justin Fields come behind Andy Dalton. That's madness. And I'll explain why. If Aaron Rodgers is indeed out of this division is up for grabs. And Andy Dalton is not the man that's going to win you this division. You have nothing to lose by throwing Justin Fields out there. Let us say he sticks up the joint.
I'd say he still should learn, because I don't trust Nagy in like the developmental category. You know what I mean? Plus, like, I feel like even though Ryan Pace might have saved his job, Nagy could still be on the way out after this season, especially when someone like a Eric Bieniemy turned down interviews for the Texans job. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna view Chicago and be like, I'm gonna go over there with Justin Fields. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like, Nagy is the one that, like, if we see Justin Fields week 1, that's Nagy trying to save his job. You know what I mean?
But I will ask y'all this.
But for that kid's development, I think he should sit back. Hey, maybe they could string off a few. Look at, man, they strung off a few wins. 5 wins with Foles, like 5 weeks straight. Like, I mean, this is still, at the end of the day, the defense can bail them out. You know what I mean? Bill Lazor had
but they had an extremely. People keep forgetting.
Andy Dalton had an MVP type caliber year until he fractured his thumb back in 2015 with Bill Lazor. So, like, even him just knowing the system and being a savvy vet, that's going to also hinder Justin Fields. He is like the most intelligent QB out of this class, apparently. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, as
not
far
just
as
this
like
class, it's of all time. Since they've been doing that test.
That test, like what the perfect 130 score.
He scored 130. Mahomes and Josh Allen both scored a 108 on that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
beat him by 22 points.
So hey, I'd say it's as fast as he could learn the playbook. It's probably as fast as he's on the field. Then you know what I mean. But I still say maybe a quarter of the year. You know what I mean? He should sit maybe even 6 weeks. It's a 17-week stretch. That one game really does make a difference. You know what I mean? he could come in and actually run that RPO for real. You know what I mean? Like, because Trubisky, I always thought was not smart. Just,
He was dumb.
Yeah, he was dumb. Exactly. You know what I mean? So like just never making the correct read. And here comes Justin Fields, like he might flourish in there. And then if that don't work with Nagy, you bring in the hyped up version of that, because Nagy and what's his name, Bieniemy, they're from that Andy Reid coaching family tree. You know what I mean?
So that's the thing, right? I'm gonna let the Bears fan talk. Go ahead. So sorry.
No, it's all good. So I'm just answering your question that you put up earlier, and that was basically, like, why do you say Dalton's going to be the QB1? Like, why do you publicly state that? I think that just lights another fire under Fields' shoulder pads. Basically, just make him come out and prove that he is better than Dalton from day one. He's already pissed off that he slid to 11 in the draft. You could see it when he was taken. Straight face, puts his hat on, no emotion whatsoever. He was angry, and then now he comes to Chicago. And I think he can beat out Dalton quite easily. I would like to see Dalton, though, start the first couple games. Just let him warm up a little bit.
And here's the reason why I don't. And I can understand and agree with both you and Bogart. But going back to Bogart's point about last year, that we should all know that was fool's gold. Like, that was an easy schedule. And like no one had any offseason or real offseason of note. Then, as you saw when the season when the schedule started to toughen up, you saw the real Bears. You have a legit chance because, as you mentioned, Ryan Pace's job may be secure, but not Matt Nagy's.
Correct.
And you have a division up for grabs when Aaron Rodgers gets traded to Denver. And I do believe that handshake agreement is in place, so I'll get to that. But we saw what Andy Dalton was last season with a talented Cowboys offense. That wasn't cutting it. And Matt Nagy does love or has a propensity to run RPOs. That fits what Justin Fields does, what he wants to do. I'm telling you, no. I agree with letting rookie quarterbacks sit for a while, like Trey Lance. He can't play right now, nor can Matt Jones. But I do believe because of what Matt Nagy runs and the position that this division is with Aaron Rodgers gone, you have a chance to win it right now. And if Matt Nagy wants to win his job or save his job, then Justin Fields has to win.
They got a Super Bowl caliber defense. I think they got if anything, I'd say they have a top 5 defense overall. Like, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
And I think Chuck Pagano's gone. I think he was trash. So, you know what I mean? That could be just an upgrade right there. Just getting rid of Pagano.
I mean, I think we all agree that Justin Fields is a Hail Mary, right? Like there's nothing conclusive saying this kid is gonna work out. Also, you know, everybody acts like playing with the chip on your shoulder is something good. Sometimes these kids don't know how to play with the chip on your shoulder. Sometimes that chip ends up consuming these guys. And then not to mention, I mean, I hate saying it. I'm a Michigan Wolverine fan, so I hate Ohio State with a burning passion. But there's a reason that there's a stigma that exists about Ohio State, especially at the quarterback position when it translates to the NFL.
Yeah.
Those quarterbacks coming out of that system, they don't tend to translate to the NFL that well. Not as quarterbacks. Most of them only last about 2 to 3 years as a quarterback before they convert to a wide receiver and then eventually get bounced up out the league. So is this kid going to be able to handle it? I don't know, especially if you don't have a coach like Matt Nagy, who you stated likes to run the RPOs that would fit his style. If that guy gets bounced out, who knows who comes in there? Maybe that's not a right fit for him, and this kid's career is over before it starts.
I think Justin Fields.
Y'all remember Cameron? Oh my bad. I was gonna say, y'all remember Cameron Meredith?
No. I don't know. I think with Justin Fields though, because I hate hearing that Ohio State like stigma thing. Because Justin Fields proved he was a baller. Like, we're not talking to Dwayne Haskins or Troy Smith, like some of these guys. Like those had
Braxton Miller, Tyrell Pryor.
Yeah, like a lot of those guys. A lot of those guys came out with huge question marks. Justin Fields, if you look at that Clemson film, how he's going through his progressions, even against Bama, that was like a rough game, but like he played better against Bama than most quarterbacks have. I think Justin Fields is going to come in like if the red rifle is your competition, that's your starter, it's guaranteed you're going to get fired, right? Like history has shown, because coaches have gotten fired that he's been, the starting quarterback for. He might start for the first couple weeks, and Justin Fields, Allen Robinson is going to say, "Hey man, get Andy Dalton out of here. Fields kid's a beast, and he's going to be starting. And they have a very good chance to win that division if that happens."
Allen Robinson's about to be the GOAT because he's awesome with all the. He has the trash QBs for his career. You know what I mean? Like Blake Bortles. You know what I mean? Trubisky, Chase Daniels. You know what I mean? Like Andy Dalton was
Hey.
already the best passer that he was about to have. You know what I mean? Arguably in his career. Not even arguably.
I feel like when
Fields, woo.
Isaac, what do you want to say?
stigmas, I think I agree with what you guys are saying, but at the same time, there's always somebody that's going to break the mold, right? Like, who was the last Clemson quarterback before Deshaun Watson? Who was the last Texas Tech quarterback before Mahomes? You know what I mean? So
True.
what I've seen about Justin, like, trust as a Skins fan, football team fan, I know exactly what stigma entails. Dwayne Haskins, you son of a. Anyway, I think I agree with Mike. Like, Justin Fields doesn't have the same. He has better mental fortitude, one, and I think he's going to be the guy that breaks that mold.
I think if he doesn't
Maybe.
come out with epilepsy, my Niners would have drafted him.
Yeah.
Because that's when it shifted gears. Like, we was like Justin Fields, and then boom, he comes out, he has epilepsy, boom. Oh, they narrowed it down to Jones and Lance. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be Lance. You know what I mean? Like that was just because we wanted that type. We didn't want, just the statuesque QB. You know what I mean? I think they got it, man. They got the steal of the draft.
They took a big swing. We'll see if it pays off, man.
They got the steal of the draft.
Real quick.
The Chicago Bears, though, that's the steal of the draft to me because he's supposed to be a top 5 guy.
So, yeah, we're talking about stigmas in Ohio State quarterbacks, but you got to kind of consider the different eras. You got the Jim Tressel era, Urban Meyer. Now you throw Ryan Day in there, who's a completely different head coach than either or two of those guys. And then you have Justin Fields, who was a multiple-year starter. He was the backup at Georgia, transferred in, but he still played a decent amount of games in Georgia. So he's not raw like someone like Dwayne Haskins was. Like, he came in, played a year, threw 50 touchdowns that season. And then he got drafted.
Had a hell of a year.
Bust. Yeah, but he just didn't have the experience, and that really showed in the NFL. But then Fields has the experience. You can throw him in pretty early, and he should be ready. Completely different era, like I was saying. I just think you can't really compare past and present eras.
I agree.
We'll find out this season. We'll find out this season.
All right.